Hi and welcome. This is Mary Brooks from Sustainable Nutrition, and Tammy Marshall and I are really excited to kick off this first session of the Metabolism Makeover. So we'll jump right in and get started with tonight's presentation. First of all, I just want to say welcome. I know that it is a big deal whenever you're making a decision about working on your health or your body, just to make that first leap of faith and then to decide that you're going to work with somebody. That's kind of a big deal. So we're just really pleased that you chose us to work with. And I promise you, you're going to learn so much. And so each session is really going to deliver a lot of information, no tricks, no gimmicks, just really good, solid information that you can start to put to use right away. So tonight we're going to be talking about a couple of big topics: hormones, metabolism, and weight. So let me just cover a little bit of housekeeping for you. Tonight is session 1. There'll be 6 individual sessions. Those will always be held on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. If you can't be with us live, we'll send you the rebroadcast and you can listen to that at your convenience. Each week we're going to cover a topic in depth. You'll receive any relevant resources or research that we have that's going to help you support, what we talked about. And then Fridays, we're going to host a Q&A session. So that's the time to, let us help you with any things that you thought were unclear, or as you're trying to put things together, the how-tos. Make sure you've got your questions, because we really want this to work for you in your day-to-day life. My suggestion is that you create a folder on your desktop and name it Tammy and Mary or the Metabolism Sessions. And you can just start stashing things in there so that they're in one place as you want to look forward. You'll be super organized. If you haven't already joined the Facebook forum, it's called Diet Freedom Academy. If you have any trouble getting in, let us know and we'll get you set up with that. I would suggest you get a small journal or a notebook and start keeping everything about this process in one place. It's also a really good idea to start doing some journaling first thing in the morning, last time, or at the end of the night, and also maybe keep a record of what you're eating, because that's really important. Keep note of your questions. We want to be really helpful to you, so keep those all in one place. If you can't make a session, don't worry, we'll send you out the replay. Just sort of a philosophical thing. I found that as I did this process myself, and then when I work with clients, we all come into, whatever stage of life we're in with a lot of, experiences and mindsets and beliefs about certain diets and certain foods and, the way we should eat, whether it's low fat or paleo or Atkins. And we just ask you to have a really open mind and be willing to, learn a whole lot of new information, and be prepared whenever you make a shift like this. It sometimes trickles into other aspects of your life. So don't be surprised if that happens. It's a good thing. And then finally, just my little note, that I've been thinking about this a lot myself, that, really the only person who's going to care the most about your health is you. So treat yourself like the CEO of this process. I'm here to help you. Tammy is. We'll give you tons and tons of resources, but the person who should care most about this process is you. But we're definitely here to lead the way for you. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Obviously, my name is Mary Brooks. So I have a master's in health education. I studied that at University of Virginia, and I studied primarily nutrition and exercise physiology. So I certainly came at nutrition early on from more of a clinical standpoint. What I will tell you about myself personally is that food has always been my passion. I think it, I dream it, I sleep it. It's always been my thing. I wanted to cook since I was tiny, and if my mother wouldn't help me, I would find someone else to help me do it. I've always done food in one form or another. Worked for a catering company. I cook anytime I can. I go to farmers markets. It's my thing. So, and the reason I tell you that is that, I think a lot of people who do nutrition are just kind of like, meh, on cooking and food. I'm not. So if you have a really strong attachment to food, or you love it, it's okay, because I do too. And I never want for people to be deprived. If there's something that they really truly want, I'm gonna get it for you. So I'm with you on that. And then I got an additional certification as an integrated nutrition coach. And the way that is different is that now I don't just teach calories or fat grams or just sort of the basics. I really look at the whole person. I look at the whole system. I try to support the body, getting back to the way it is intended to be. And I bring a lot of other things into the mix besides just food. And I recognize that, we're all different. If you have different fingerprints, we certainly can't all eat the same food. So I have a lot of appreciation about how individual we are and how important that is to each of us, and also how different food is. It's not the same as it used to be. So there's a lot of nuances. So I want you to know that's the perspective that I come from. And so what I do in my everyday job is that I help people solve health issues through food. And I really made a commitment not to do product. I am coaching first, whole foods second, and supplements sort of, low down on the totem pole. I still recommend them, but that's not my first line of defense. A couple of quotes just to kick us off. This is a quote by James Califano, who was the Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare. You, the individual, can do more for your health and well-being than any doctor, any drug, and any exotic medical device. I really want to share my perspective that the body is capable of healing, always. It's always trying. It's always trying to get better. And, we were born perfectly healthy, and feeling good and being healthy, that's your birthright. So that's going to be my attitude. And I really want you to always believe that is the case. And that's the direction the body is trying to move in. So another quote, this is just, again, a little bit of perspective, because, it's really an honor whenever I coach a client, and I know we're doing this online, but I really want you to be aware of, the great intentions that both Tammy and I hold for you. And so this is just my, little kickoff quote to you. It's from a book called You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. And that's a great book if you're looking for sort of a shot in the arm about, what's your purpose and what you're calling, and, what you're really intended to be doing. So here's the quote. You're perfect. To think anything less is as pointless as a river thinking that it's got too many curves, or that it moves too slowly, or that its rapids are too rapid. Says who? You're on a journey with no defined beginning, middle, or end. There are no wrong twists and turns. There's just being. And your job is to be as you can be. This is why you are here. To shy away from who you truly are would leave the world you-less. You are the only you there is and will ever be. Do not deny the world its one and only chance to bask in your brilliance. Okay, so the reason this topic is so important to me, you'll hear bits and pieces of my story, but I want you to know that I'm a person that can relate very much to why all of us are here. So I'm a wife and I'm a mom to 3 healthy children. They're also very close in age. Right now, my oldest is 22 and my youngest 2 are 19. Personally, my style has always been, a little driven. I've always just tried to, push through obstacles and get things done. So as my children were little, real close in age, when the youngest 2 were about 2.5, I had a period of kind of relentless sinus infections that turned into bronchitis, that turned into pneumonia. And there was a year where it just seemed like I was in the doctor's office all the time. And I know every time that I went, I got an antibiotic, I got a steroid. I think I probably ended up with a yeast infection. That was just my cycle for about a year and a half. And at one point I had pneumonia so badly that I had to have a chest x-ray. And it was just massive pneumonia in one of my lungs. So, it's kind of interesting looking back on that nobody asked me, why was I so run down and why, was my immunity so shot? And also, there was no really follow-up care for all of those antibiotics and steroids that I took. No, now, knowing what I know, I believe that probably compromised my system pretty badly. But you know how life is. You just get up and go on. And I was just keeping my head above water, doing the best I could. And I didn't really think about it until a lot later. Interestingly enough, during that period of time, I had really bad asthma and used an inhaler and also took medications for that. And I don't have any of that now, but it's just, I think all those medications probably took a toll on me. So fast forward, 2007, I was working for a publishing company in Dallas. I used to travel a fair amount for my job. I got off a plane. I had some neck issues. And during the process of that, I discovered that I had nodules on my thyroid. Thought that was going to be no big deal. And it turned out they were cancerous. So I had the entire thyroid removed. And I'm one of those people that now has to use thyroid medication and will for the rest of my life. So now that I look back on that, I really believe that, the thyroid cancer didn't just come out of nowhere. I think it probably was, created by my use of medications that probably gave me a leaky gut. And then also I was doing some things that I didn't realize were compromising my thyroid. And that is I ate kind of the traditional low-fat diet, a lot of low-fat yogurt, low-fat milk. I used stuff like shed spread. I probably ate, the occasional lean cuisine. I'd use stuff like shed spread because I thought it was lower in fat. I don't remember all of that, but I know that was certainly, very trendy at the time. And then I was a high exercise person. I used to run. I was a spin instructor. Not saying any of that to blame myself, but I think that might have sort of set me up for my condition. So what happened to me as I had my thyroid condition, I never had any type of input from the medical community about how lifestyle and food and stress might affect my condition. And as a nutrition professional, I began to study that in depth. And I was really kind of flabbergasted that, nobody talked about nutrition and stress and food and toxicity and leaky gut and all of that in terms of how it affects your thyroid. So therefore, that's why it's kind of a very important topic to me. And then also as a nutrition coach, I would say about 80% of the women that come to see me have some sort of thyroid condition and also some type of adrenal fatigue. So that's why it's really been, almost like a life passion for me to teach this, because I never found any of it all in one place. I had to skip around from different person to different person, and I never got it all sorted out. But now I feel like I do have that information and I have it in one place. And so I really feel like I can act like an ambassador and a guide to help you get a handle on it and to help it all make sense to you and you not have to go through quite the level of frustration and mystery that I think that I did and that I see a lot of clients do. So I want to really advocate for you. Okay, so let's get right into the systems because that's what we're all here to talk about tonight. So I do want to tell you that, we typically take a very linear approach to our health. We think, okay, I have a headache, I'm going to take something for my head. I have a stomach ache, it must be in my stomach. My thyroid is low, it must be my thyroid. But it's really more important to sort of start to think about all these systems in our body and how they were kind of perfectly designed and integrated to work. And when we take the fast, direct solution, we're sometimes missing that puzzle piece of how did we get this way to begin with? And usually if you unravel and you look back, you can figure it out. It could be, getting sick. It could be something stressful. It could be taking a medication. It could be eating foods that you thought were really good for you, but they weren't. Tammy and I talk about this. Sometimes certain diets throw people into disarray. We don't mean for that to happen, but sometimes we miss out on a whole category of nutrients, and that can cause imbalance. So it takes a little while to piece it together, but I think it's well worth it. And when we do this, we have a much better awareness of our body, and it isn't such a mystery. So that's what I really want for you. I want you to make sense of your symptoms. And then also, it's really important. So often, an RX or a prescription medication usually just changes how the enzymes are working, but it never gets to the root of what happened. So there's lots of different expressions. Look for the root cause, treat the smoke, not the fire. That's what I'm going for you. And, it will happen. You just have to be a little bit patient. And also, sometimes when we go down these paths of, a particular diet or trend, or maybe just trying to fix it with a medication, it doesn't always make us better. And in some cases, it actually can make it worse. So it'll, peeling back those layers and looking at the integrated systems, I think is really the only way to kind of get to the bottom of it and really fix it so the body completely improves. And you get, this is what I'm going for. You feeling well, you're not being confused. You have more of this like peace, ease, and grace with your body. Okay, one more quote, and it ties into that last slide. When we're always looking for, the easy button, the quick way out, the quick fix. This is a quote I love. Adopt the path of nature. Her secret is patience. So if you heard my first description about, what kind of person I am, I'm a little bit of a result junkie. I'm a little bit of like, okay, I've identified this problem. I want the solution and I want it now. But that doesn't always happen. And if you want true health or true, improvement, think about nature. It goes through various seasons and it takes some time. So wherever you are in your process, and it is okay, all of these things, they do happen for a reason. They unfold in the way that they need to, but be patient because we didn't get where we are overnight. So a real solution and real health and real change, it doesn't happen overnight. However, I can tell you from doing this with client after client after client, when we start to give ourselves what we need and fix it with all the right, true solutions, mind, body, soul, nutrition, all of the above, you really can have radical change. And the body will respond to you because when you get out of the way and when you give it what it needs, it's gonna respond to you, and it's gonna respond to you in a really powerful way. So be patient, but also expect great things because they really can happen. I've seen people with autoimmune conditions who look terrible. And when, we did the right things, they look amazing. They don't even look like the same person. I've seen it time and time again. So I truly believe, and that's the work I do.